Our poem by David White, Everything is Waiting for You. Your great mistake is to act the drama as if you were alone, as if life were a progressive and cunning crime with no witness to the tiny, hidden transgressions. To feel abandoned is to deny the intimacy of your surroundings. Surely even you at times have felt the grand array, the swelling presence, and the chorus crowding out your solo voice. You must note the way the soap dish enables you, or the window latch grants you courage. Alertness is the hidden discipline of familiarity. The stairs are your mentor of things to come. The doors have always been there to frighten you and invite you. The tiny speaker in the phone is your dream ladder to divinity. Put down the weight of your aloneness and ease into the conversation. The kettle is singing even as it pours you a drink. The cooking pots have left their arrogant aloofness and seen the good in you at last. All the birds and creatures of the world are unutterably themselves. Everything is waiting for you.
Halfway by A. Milne. Halfway down the stairs is a stair where I sit. There isn't any other stair quite like it. I'm not at the bottom. I'm not at the top. So this is the stair where I always stop. Halfway up the stairs isn't up and it isn't down. It isn't in the nursery. It isn't in the town. And all sorts of funny thoughts run round my head. It isn't really anywhere. It's somewhere else instead.
As a child, I loved this poem. I try to sit on the halfway step. In our house, it was the seventh one up. But it never was really quite the right place. Too many people coming up and down the stairs, and it was really too far away from where all the good stuff was happening, in the kitchen and on the porch. Now, I say porch because it's what we called it, because it started as a porch, but my mom and dad decided we needed a family room, and so they replaced the screens with sliding glass doors and put in a small wood stove that kept the room warm all year round. The porch was the hub of our lives, and I liked being in it, but I also liked being not quite in it. When it was cold out, I'd slide myself into a little nook underneath a shelf in the next room where I could hear everyone doing all the things people do in family rooms, but where I could also just read or think. I'd be kind of halfway in the porch and halfway in the rest of the house. And when it was warm, there was another halfway place, a big rock. This rock was near the edge of the yard where the woods began, but not quite. It had some bushes around one side of it, and it sloped a bit so I could lie down on the rock and read or think. I was close enough to the house to hear and sometimes see my mom and dad if they were in the garden or mowing the lawn or doing things on the porch. I'd be kind of halfway at the house and halfway in the woods. As I grew up, I began to understand that there's something special about those halfway places. Places where something could maybe happen. A place that feels different, magical, on the edge of something sacred. For me as an adult, that place is a set of standing stones in a place I love to go but rarely can, a trip made more difficult with the pandemic. Now, if you've ever been to England, you've probably been to Stonehenge, the most famous circle of standing stones in the world. No one is for sure how they got there, what they mean, although there are some pretty solid theories and ideas about marking time and performing ancient rituals. Stonehenge is so famous that there are guided tours and amenities, and except for the summer solstice, the site is roped off and you can't get close to the stones. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I visited in 2003 in the company of an English friend, Stonehenge felt boring. Sure, the stones are amazing and the engineering to make them happen is fascinating, but I'd rather watch a documentary with earnest archaeologists explaining it to me. For me, it didn't feel very sacred. I said this to my companion, who replied, "Now we'll go see the real thing." He drove us to a little town nearby called Avebury. Now, Avebury also has standing stones in concentric circles, but instead of an attraction, the stones are literally just part of the village. They're on the commons, between homes, in fields, along the roads, and every single one of them is there for you to touch, which we did. Now, we didn't intend to, but after touching the stones at the very center of the circles, and then walking around the next circle of stones and touching all of those, it became clear that they were calling to us, that something asked for our presence. I know, it seems odd, but when we finished, I felt as though I had been in sacred space, on the edge of something, in touch with mystery. It was many years later that I learned of the concept of thin places, a concept that comes from Celtic culture. Geographically, they are found in the places of transition, where the ocean meets the shore, on a mountain top where the earth meets the sky, where woods meet meadows, where a bridge crosses a river, where wilderness meets civilization. These thin places are not always very exotic, and in fact they are rarely so. Yet something changes in those places of transition, and we can feel it. In the Celtic tradition, it's thought that these kinds of spots are where this world and the realm of the spirit come together. As theologian Timothy George writes, the distance between heaven and earth shrinks, and time and eternity embrace. A thin place is where the veil between this world and the next is lifted for a moment, and it may be possible to get a glimpse of what one's life is all about, perhaps of what life itself is all about. Now, these thin places, they're different for everyone. My thin places, Avebury, yes, but also that rock on the edge of the woods at my childhood home, and also now a particular spot on Wells Beach in Maine. These are not yours, but they could be. Your thin place is the one that calls you, draws you into itself, transports you into the presence of something, mystery, spirit, earth, God, the infinite, all. That presence of something beyond you. You'll know it by how you feel, a change in the air, a spidey sense, a certain calm, a brightness, a clarity. And when you do, good luck describing the feeling. This is where language fails and talk is cheap. I can't actually describe adequately what I felt touching those standing stones, why I felt compelled to do so, what I learned about myself and my connection to ancestors, because our spirits learn differently than our minds do. Unitarian Universalist minister Alison Cornish says that these experiences are ineffable. They can be explained only in the language of metaphor and symbol. We cannot say exactly what happened, only that it was something like something else. These moments are transient. They come and they go quickly, and they are passive. The moment happens to us, not by something we create. These experiences connect with our intellect and leave us with the sense that we know something we did not know before. These are not moments that can be planned or orchestrated. They come unbidden and are usually welcome. These moments are important. We are all too often in our heads, And even more so in this time of pandemic when the boundaries of work and school and shopping and travel and entertainment and comfort are difficult and badly blurred. We long for embodied experiences where words don't matter and our bodies and our spirits do, but we work and play and worship on our devices. We see and hear and engage with each other without feeling each other's presence. And the only sights we see are those in our homes, outside our windows, and occasional trips to the market. And if we're essential workers in hospitals or shops or other essential services, our travel to and from work also can seem fraught and limited. Even as we're phasing into more opportunities here in New York State, we're still so cautious and traveling familiar roads and seeing only familiar sights. Our spirits are tired and aching as much as our bodies and as much as our minds as we try to make sense of this new reality and dwell in this time of unknowing. More than ever, when we can't access them, we need places that offer a bit of sacred in this incredibly profane time. So how do we do it? How do we make spaces for our spirits to learn and grow and play when our physical spaces are so limited and thin places are hard to come by? I invite you to lean into your imagination and into your memories of what you might call your thin place. Where is that place? Let's pause for a moment for a short guided meditation, making space for you to find it and imagine it and remember it. So again, we breathe and let's take 7 breaths. And as you continue to breathe, imagine that there is a door in front of you. And on the door is a sign that says, "Here is your place." A place of rest and peace and wisdom and inspiration. You approach the door and open it as widely or not, and look. Notice what you see. Maybe this place is meaningful to you. Maybe it is known. Maybe it is unknown. Look around. Feel the air. Notice the smells. Listen. Take in the colors, the textures. And as you take in the memory or the imagining of this place, listen to the still small voice deep inside you, the voice deep inside this hallowed ground. Look and be present. Listen for the wisdom waiting for you. We'll breathe another moment or two to hear. And now that you have opened this door, remember this door as you come back into our space, opening your eyes again, remembering that we're here in virtual worship together. Perhaps the place you imagined you didn't call a thin place at first when you encountered it, but maybe you remembered something or envisioned some place that is sacred to you. Maybe you've thought about places you've been and the place that just comes to your mind. I invite you to continue to think about this place, write about it, find pictures if it exists, draw pictures if it doesn't. Gather items you might have from that place, items that remind you of that place. I invite you to create small altars or shrines. The gathering of items doesn't have to be big. My little shrine to Avebury is, well, this rock sitting on my desk. Just a rock. When I touch it or look at it and remember, or look at it and hold it, I remember that it was one of the many at the base of one of the standing stones near the wall near the inn. And you may already have gatherings of items, altars or shrines or just collections on a table or shelf. I mean, we are all made of the stuff of earth, and there's a reason material objects like stones or bread or water or candles show up so often in our rituals. They keep us grounded in this world as our spirits engage with mystery. I also invite you to explore the place you are right now. Move around your home, sit in different places, clear out a corner, relax on a chair you don't normally engage with. And as you do so, maybe you will find the spot where some peace can intrude, and awe and wonder too. It might be halfway down the stairs, or under a shelf, or in a blanket fort. These days I'm finding it in the rocking chair in the living room, a room we don't use very often when we don't have company. It is a place where I can sit and think and feel that something, that mystery. It matters. It truly matters for our mental health, for our emotional and spiritual health. We need all the thin places we can get to be present to ourselves, to find peace, to let our souls catch up, to find comfort, to pause and find refuge. As the Irish poet John O'Donoghue writes, "You have traveled too fast over false ground. Now your soul has come to take you back. Take refuge in your senses. Open up to the small miracles you rushed through. Become inclined to watch the way of rain when it falls slow and free. Imitate the habit of twilight, taking time to open the well of color that fostered the brightness of day. Draw alongside the silence of stone until its calmness can claim you." Amen, and blessed be. Like the joy of the sea coming home to shore, may the relief of laughter rinse through your soul. As the wind loves to call things to dance, may your gravity be lightened by grace. Like the dignity of moonlight restoring the earth, may your thoughts incline with reverence and respect. As water takes whatever shape it is in, so free may you be about who you become. As silence smiles on the other side of what's said, may your sense of irony bring perspective. As time remains free of all that it frames, may your mind stay clear of all it names. May your prayer of listening deepen enough to hear in the depths the laughter of God. And now join us in our closing hymn, Winds Be Still.